coilovers, external reservoirs with compression adjusters. Every cattle guard, washboard, pothole, and half-buried rock. Don't put your chin under there or it will knock you out. I went with King for a few reasons. 2018 Ford F150. Okay, this escalated quickly. That was a whole bunch of suck. Whoever Heather is, the universe wanted me to have your yoga mat. All right, here's a quick comparison. Literally says it on the can. Has to be true. There we go, it's in. On the side of a mountain on a really bumpy 2-track. This is a 2018 Ford F150. Every year it spends about a month driving on forest roads in Idaho and Montana. This bit right here that they rode on these trucks, not true. The good thing about forest roads is they tend to keep the riffraff out. The bad thing is every cattle guard, washboard, pothole, and half-buried rock seems to slow me down to a crawl or yard sale everything inside my cabin box. I've encountered a few trucks that show up out of nowhere, bouncing from side mirror to side mirror, letting me know they want to pass. Given that I'm from the most polite state in the union, I find the nearest turnout and watch them go flying by without a care in the world. When I finally make it to the trailhead, I usually take note of what kind of suspension these trucks are running. This is the common theme: coilovers, external reservoirs with compression adjusters. I went with King for a few reasons. 1, they're a direct OEM replacement. 2, they're fully serviceable. And 3 was the service I got at Filthy Motorsports. I told Ben what I was looking for, and he patiently walked me through my options. Since these bits are on the pricey side, I'm not able to do everything all at once. So I'm upgrading things in stages. Starting off with the front coilovers, then upper control arms on the front. After that, it's rear shocks, and then Deaver springs. Since I carry quite a bit of weight in the bed and a motorcycle off the back bumper, Ben recommended that I get some airbags on top of the rear leaf springs. Luckily, I already had those. These airbags were a huge improvement when carrying the motorcycle off the back bumper. It allowed me to basically level the truck, and it felt a lot more stable at highway speeds. Installation looks pretty straightforward. Looks like what you do is remove the tow hooks and sandwich the reservoir mounts between the tow hooks and the frame, and use the factory bolts. Other than that, it's just remove and replace. Once they're installed, it's off to Montana for a week, living on forest roads. I will let you guys know how they perform and give you my honest review. Okay, this escalated quickly. There's kind of a cover on top of my tow hooks, and it's near impossible to get in and get at the bolts for them. So off comes the bumper. Oh, and I just wanted to say, whoever Heather is, the universe wanted me to have your yoga mat. It's working out really good. And now for some JB80, because it is twice as good. Literally says it on the can. Has to be true. Gotta love Minnesota salt. Take that, you dirty. Okay, cover your ears. All right, 4 more to go. I think they're all in the front though. Here's what we're dealing with. Left. That was a whole bunch of suck. I think the two-wheel drives and non-lariat don't have these covers, so the tow hooks are a little bit easier to get off. All right, let's start with the 3 top shock mount bolts. Then the bracket that holds on the brake and vacuum lines to the hubs. I'm going to tie off the brake caliper, at least on one end, to start with. Just a side note, you don't actually have to remove your caliper to get the coilover out and get the new one in. It's just that I'm doing a brake job, general maintenance here, so I just left it in for you guys. Next, I am going to pull off the top sway bar mount so that later on I can articulate the A-arm down far enough to get the shock out. And now it's on to Heather's yoga mat for some deep stretching and removal of lower shock bolts. And while I'm down here, I'll also remove the tie rod nut. And the last thing we do before we get the shock out is loosen the upper control arm bolt. This thing is about to go flopping up, and I got the jack under there so I can let it down nice and easy. But don't put your chin under there or it will knock you out. There we go. Now I'm going to let the jack down. There we go. Yeah, not a fan of those press-in studs. There we go. It is out. All right, here's a quick comparison of the two. Looks like overall length, roughly the same height. Obviously one is much different than the other, but gives you an idea. All right, this next bit is where we run the shock, or the reservoir, up and through the hole in the shock mount on the top. go, it's in. Now putting the bolts in the top shock mount. And tightening up the top. There we go. Go. And done. Okay, reconnect the tie rod. All right, next I got to do rotors and pads. And once I get that done, I'll meet back up with you to button the rest of this up. Okay, off camera, I did a quick brake job. New rotor and pads. Now I'm just going to finish up the job. To hold the reservoirs on, they use these hose clamps. And they just slide through a little slot in the back. Let's see if I can get this other one on. I'm kind of doing it blind here. Yep, there it is. Get them started. There we go. Slide the Helio in. That seems about right. And we're tight. So there we go. That side is done. Just need to hop over and do the other side, which is pretty much the same as this one. If there's anything that's different, I will definitely film it. But the next time you hear from me, I will be on the side of a mountain on a really bumpy 2-track, letting you know what I think of these shocks. Hey everyone, just wanted to do an update on the review that follows here. While I still agree with everything I said here in the review, I just want to add that I think I can do better. I think we're still too stiff on the compression. I may have too much preload on the spring, or we might have too heavy of a spring for this truck. I got an email out to Ben at Filthy Motorsports. Hopefully I hear back from him soon. There's a lot of adjustability on these coilovers. I can reduce preload, I can put in a lighter spring, I can also swap out shim packs in both the compression adjuster and the coilover itself. Anyways, just wanted you guys to be aware before you watch the review. Still got a ways to go yet, but I'm fairly confident we can get to where I want, which is essentially being able to just bomb down these trails without my truck shaking to death. Without further interruption, here is my initial review of these coilovers while still on the forest roads of Montana. Alright, so here's where I camped last night. Last day of the trip before I head home. What did I think of them? I think they're awesome. Would I recommend them? Absolutely. Only regret is that I didn't have the back shocks on, because every time I'd go over a group of washboards, the back end would skip out and kind of go out of control for a minute. So I'd have to slow down. There was also a couple of times where I was the guy trying to get the people ahead of me to move out of the way because I was going faster. Before I'd have to probably go about 15 miles an hour. Now I could easily go, I think there was a couple times I was maintaining 25 miles an hour over bumps and stuff. Every once in a while you'd hit a big bruiser that you'd have to slow down for, but yeah, these things are pretty awesome. I tried a couple different settings. Well, I tried two different ways, all the way soft and all the way hard. All the way hard was just not for the trail, and I kind of liked all the way soft. Overall, it was a good trip. The shocks made a huge improvement on being able to maintain speed through the trails, and I cannot wait to get them on the back. One thing that was really cool is that it leveled the truck, so now I'm sitting up a little higher in the front. But anyways, signing out. I would highly recommend these shocks, and I'll do another review once I get the upper control arms and the rear shocks installed as well. That's it.